Starting your day off with a take on Vegas you won't get anywhere else.
Hi, I'm Holly Madison, and I listen to Brian Shapiro.
Hi, this is William Shatner, and I listen to Brian Shapiro.
Hey, this is Larry the Cable Guy, and I listen to Brian Shapiro. Why? Because I'm a good American. So is he. And if you don't listen to him, you need to pack up and leave this country.
This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
Come on, guys!
Oh, yeah, it's that time again. Welcome. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro, glad you could join us. Oh, yeah, we got a lot to get to today. We always do. We're going to have a lot of fun. Ron Futrell from Channel 8 going to be joining us in hour number 2. Live from T-Mobile Arena, baby. Vegas Golden Knights in action, Game 4. We will get to that. NBA playoffs from the sports side of things. But, boy, from the news side, oh, do we have a lot to get to today. A lot to go over. So last night, watching a little Fox News, and as you may or may not know, Bernie Sanders did a little town hall. And surprisingly, I guess to some people, it was a success. On Fox News. So who was the first person to attack Bernie Sanders? Who do you think it was? Who was the first person to throw out insults? It was your insulter-in-chief, Donald Trump. He said on Twitter that it was weird to watch the Democratic presidential candidate on the channel and characterized the town hall as the second instance of unusual behavior by the network. No, it's not, Mr. President. There's nothing weird about a different point of view. And I commend Fox News for allowing Bernie Sanders to talk. It is good to hear different views. There's nothing weird about that. Just like it's not weird if you decided to do an interview on MSNBC. There's nothing weird about that, Mr. President. He seems to go after any single person who disagrees with him or somebody that he sees as a threat. So this is what Donald Trump tweeted out yesterday. So weird to watch crazy Bernie. Let me just stop right there. There's nothing crazy about Bernie Sanders, okay? Now, you might not like some of his policies. The man has been an advocate for civil rights issues practically his entire life. You don't have to agree with his policies. But let me tell you something. Bernie Sanders is not crazy. Just like I say about Joe Biden, and I'm not a big Joe Biden guy, Bernie Sanders is not crazy. He is a good man. He is a good husband. He is a good father. Last I checked, Bernie Sanders wasn't banging porn stars right after his wife popped out a child. Bernie Sanders is not crazy. But if you disagree with him, like Donald Trump does, you're going to call him names. And I understand that Bernie Sanders has attacked Donald Trump, but he gives reasons behind it. Why are you going to call Bernie Sanders crazy? He says, so weird to watch crazy Bernie on Fox News. Not surprisingly, Brett Baer and the audience was smiley and nice. Well, what do you think? What do you think? Brett Baer should be rude to Bernie Sanders? What do you think? Is that what should the audience have been rude? I understand that's the way Donald Trump conducts himself. I thought Brett Baer did a good job. And by the way, I've been on the record on this show time and time again saying Brett Baer is one of those people that I respect. Wallace is another person. Shepard Smith. There's some people on Fox News that I think do a very good job and they're very fair. Brett Baer is one of them. And I thought they did a pretty good job. So he called it strange. He called it weird. He called Bernie Sanders crazy. And the last time President Trump tweeted about Bernie Sanders, it was back in February. A simple post wishing crazy Bernie well as he entered the 2020 race. You know, Bernie Sanders answered a lot of questions from both Fox host Brett Baer and Martha McCallum. Are you guys okay with this? Are you okay with the President of the United States, once again, attacking somebody basically for no reason? There's nothing crazy about Bernie Sanders. Let me be very clear. My thoughts on Bernie Sanders. And I'm not necessarily saying I'd vote for the guy, but...
You would.
Oh, wait, who's here? What's that voice?
You would definitely vote for Bernie Sanders.
I didn't even know you were in studio. Where did you come from? Where did you come from? I'm serious. I did not even know you were... I'm being completely serious. I was just doing this. I had no idea you were in the studio. I'm being completely honest.
I arrived about 200 seconds ago.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's probably why.
Very stealthily.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. I really that startled me. I didn't even know you were in the studio. I thought that was Bernie Sanders. Look, my thoughts on Bernie are this. I agree to an extent with the tax breaks he wants. Here's why. And by the way, he's in the 1%. Okay, I don't agree with all of his policies. I don't agree with free college. I don't agree with everyone making $15 minimum wage. Never agreed with those policies. But the rich get richer and the poor get poorer in this country. And I understand where he's coming from. If you make under $40,000 a year, or your household income, let's just say hypothetically, is around there, you're paying a higher percentage on taxes than what a billionaire is paying. And don't give me the excuse, well, they pay the majority of the taxes. Well, yeah, it's based on the income, but not the percentage. A CEO of a Fortune 500 company should be paying a higher percentage than a household income, a family of $50,000 or less. And you cannot defend that. But Trump tries to. And it's not just Donald Trump. There's been many other politicians and presidents that support this. That's why I agree to an extent that I do believe that these billionaires should not be getting all these tax cuts. I agree with that. Like I said, I disagree with the free college tuition. However, we all can agree college tuition, it's a joke. Everyone's in student debt. They all got student loans. The price of college needs to go down. Now, I'm not saying it should be free, and I've never said that. But there has to be some middle ground here. I do think Bernie Sanders has some decent ideas, but I think they're a little bit too extreme. College tuition needs to go down. I don't know how anybody could argue that or not agree with it. Minimum wage. Let's get to that. He spoke about that yesterday. No, I don't think the minimum wage throughout the country should be $15 an hour, particularly with small businesses. But if you're Walmart and you're making billions of dollars a year, how do you justify paying some of your employees, some of whom it's their only job and they work full time? How do you justify paying some of your employees $8 or $9 an hour? I'm not talking about a 16-year-old kid that strolls into McDonald's looking for a job. I don't support, that $15 an hour job. I don't. But if you jump the minimum wage to $10 an hour, I wouldn't have a problem with that. If you're a company making billions of dollars, I think there should be some laws put in place. Up that minimum wage a little bit. I don't have a problem with that. So I agree with a lot of what Bernie Sanders is saying, but I think it's a little bit too extreme. There has to be some middle ground. And going back to this, there's nothing crazy about Bernie Sanders. Are you okay with the president of the United States, Donald Trump, calling Bernie Sanders crazy, calling it weird? Do you think it's weird that Bernie Sanders was on Fox News? No, I think it's great. I wish more Democrats would go on Fox News, and I wish more Republicans would go on CNN and MSNBC, because I think it's good. I like to hear a different point of view. And Brett Barrett did a great job. I thought the crowd was fantastic. It's nice to hear a different point of view instead of hearing the same crap. You put on Fox News, everybody loves Donald Trump. Almost everybody's on the right. You hear one point of view. Same thing with MSNBC. Everybody hates Donald Trump. Everybody, for the most part, is on the left. It's good to hear a different point of view. There's nothing weird about that, Mr. President. He called it weird. You know what's weird? Donald Trump going on Twitter every day attacking people. You know what's weird? Donald Trump every day attacking any person that disagrees with him when it comes to anything. That's weird. And I'm tired of it. Bernie Sanders is a good man. And I don't know if I would vote for him. I never have. I don't know if I would. But Bernie Sanders is a decent human being. He's never said grab women by the P word. He's never banged a porn star after his wife popped out a kid. Okay? Last I checked, he doesn't have 3 ex-wives. Donald Trump, if you want to call somebody crazy, you could call Donald Trump crazy, not Bernie Sanders. What do you guys think about that? What do you think about Bernie Sanders? What do you think about him appearing on Fox News? What do you guys think of that? I thought it was a success. Crowd seemed to like him. I thought he did a very, very good job. I'll open up the phone lines at 257-5396. Again, the number to call if you want to be a part of the program. That number is 257-5396. If you're calling from a little ways out there, area code 702-257-5396. I wish Fox News would do more of that. I did not agree with CNN when they decided to pull the plug on the Democrats for Fox News, running for president. In the debate. I did not agree with that at all. I thought that was a bad move by the Democratic Party. I thought that was a really bad move. I think it is a good thing in this country when we can hear both sides of the equation. I think it's a good thing in this country when we can hear people on the left, people on the right. So what? So what? So Fox News is way far to the right. So what? I think that it showed a little bit of courage for Bernie to do that. And I'll say the same thing about, members of the NRA. I remember, after the school shooting, I'm not a big Dana Loesch fan. I think she's the worst. But it did take some courage for her to show up at that town hall after the school shooting that took place. And I feel the same way about Bernie Sanders. I think it was nice. I think it was great that Fox News gave him that platform to give his ideas. But Donald Trump, calling him crazy, calling it weird. Why do you think that is, JD? Why do you think Donald Trump calls Bernie Sanders weird? Why do you think he thinks that it's such a weird situation that he actually went on Fox News yesterday and does this town hall? I'll get your thoughts on that. Let me give out the number one more time, 257-5396. If you want to be a part of the program, again, give us a buzz. We got a few phone lines open at 257-5396.
I liken this to Donald Trump calling Schiff a pencil neck, his son referring to teachers as losers. I mean, if you disagree, you disagree, and explain why. But just calling somebody a name and insulting them, it is beneath the presidency. I'm a big Donald Trump guy. I've said this 100 times. But you need to have some substance behind your statements.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you're right. It's very similar to
is
him
Bernie
calling him
Sanders,
pencil neck.
Is he weird? Is he a little off? Is he a little quirky? Yes, all of the above. But explain why that is without actually saying it.
I mean, I don't know if he's quirky. I think he's a good guy. I think he's lived a very noble life. I think he's a good human being. I mean, I don't know if I'm curious. Why would you call him quirky? Why do you think Bernie Sanders is quirky?
Anywhere from the way he talks, his demeanor, how he handles himself. Would
you call Donald Trump quirky?
He's just kind of off kilter.
Would you call Donald Trump off kilter? The way he talks, his mannerisms? I would say he's a lot more off kilter than Bernie Sanders is. I think Bernie Sanders is a very good public speaker. That's just my opinion. I think who would you rather have somebody teach you about public speaking, Bernie Sanders or Donald Trump? I mean, that's the answer right there. I mean, come on. I'm asking you, who would you rather have? Somebody teach your child on public speaking, Bernie Sanders or Donald Trump?
Like as a professor?
In any aspect. I mean, in life. Who would you want to teach your child in life how to be a good human being, how to be a good public speaker, how to respect people? Donald Trump or Bernie Sanders?
In regards to passion or content? Or delivery?
In regards to everything, all the above. All the above. Who would you rather have? Bernie Sanders or Donald Trump? Be honest. Don't lie to me.
I would rather have Donald Trump.
Okay, well, I think that's utterly ridiculous. I disagree with you. You're telling me you would rather have Donald Trump teach your daughter
hey, by the way, Brian,
how to speak.
Happy birthday.
I didn't even mention. Yeah, it is my birthday today. I heard it's Melania Trump's birthday today, too, by the way. Me and her have something in common. God, I'm so old. 39 years old. Can you believe that? Where have my 30s gone? It's brutal. I forgot it was my birthday today. Thank you for reminding me, by the way. It's not a good thing that you reminded me. I'm getting old. But, yes, it is my birthday today. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is I think Bernie Sanders is a good human being. I think he's a good guy. He's been a civil rights activist for the majority of his life. He's lived an honest life. He's a good guy. But, I mean, I guess that's the point I'm trying to make. I think Bernie Sanders is a good person. You can disagree with his policies. I think it was a great thing that he was on Fox News. And once again, Donald Trump looking, embarrassing the country, quite frankly. Embarrassing the country. Let me ask this to some of the Trump supporters out there. And I know there's plenty of them probably. What do you make of Donald Trump calling Bernie Sanders crazy, calling his appearance on Fox News weird, saying, not surprisingly, the audience was smiley and nice, like that's a bad thing, to be respectful and nice? Am I wrong on this one? Do you think? What do you think about Donald Trump in those comments? I think it's completely ridiculous. It's typical Donald Trump. I'll open up the phone lines. 257-5396 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the program. Again, 702-257-5396. And we also have a lot of other subjects to get to, by the way. Did you hear this story? I mean, this is just the worst. If you want to talk about immigration and you want to talk about illegal immigration, this is just awful. Terrible story. A man whose wife died in Afghanistan while fighting for the U.S. military, deported, sent back to Mexico before he was later returned to the U.S. Now, we hear all these stories, right? And they're all terrible. even though not many illegals are committing these serious crimes that President Trump would like you to believe, anybody who comes into this country illegally and commits a crime or God forbid, kills somebody, it's horrible. And you hear of all stories on Fox News all day. You hear Trump talk about it all day. But you don't hear about these stories, right? A man who lost his wife fighting for this country in Afghanistan dies, and then he gets deported to Mexico. You're not going to hear about those stories on right-wing shows. You won't hear about that. You won't hear Donald Trump talk about this, though. Only the horrible things that illegals do, and he wants to make it out to believe that all these illegals are committing these horrible crimes. All right, let's get to the phones. We're talking about Bernie Sanders, of course. His appearance on Fox News yesterday, Donald Trump calling him crazy, calling him names, saying it was weird. We're taking calls on that. What do you think about this story, about this horrendous story about this man who loses his wife, who was fighting in Afghanistan for this country, and then they deport him? 257-5396, the number to call, 702-257-5396. Let's go to Joe. Joe, thanks for calling in. How are you?
I'm excellent, brother. Hey, Brian, I just wanted to call and wish you a happy 21st birthday, brother.
I wish, my friend. I wish. I appreciate that.
You're automatically 21.
I appreciate that, Joe. So, Joe, before I let you go, what do you make of this Bernie Sanders stuff? What did you think about his appearance on Fox News last night? And are you okay with the president calling him crazy, calling it weird? What do you think about that?
You know, Brian, to be honest with you, I didn't see anything that you're talking about him going on Fox News. I do agree, though, that it's about time we start having people with different views come on different, programs and talk about what it is that they believe in.
There you go. I am all for people that are extreme to the right going on MSNBC, just like I am all for people on way left like Bernie Sanders, going on Fox News. I agree. I think it's good for political discourse, Joe. It's good to hear from you. Thank you for the birthday wishes. I appreciate that.
Thanks for the call, Joe.
257-5396, the number to call again, 702-257-5396. Let's go to Brian. Brian, thanks for calling in. How are you?
Excellent. Happy birthday, my friend.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm not 21, though. I wish I was.
Enjoy 39. You're right in the best years, buddy.
If you say so. I don't know if I agree.
30 to 55.
I think you're old once you hit 40. Yeah, so I got one more year.
No, your best years are ahead, my friend.
I hope you're right, Brian. I appreciate that. So what do you think about this Bernie Sanders stuff, Brian? Where am I wrong?
Bernie's Bernie, and Trump just does like he does all people who may oppose him in the future. He gives them nicknames and stuff. He did that with all the Republican candidates, and that's just his way of, again, it's the little laser light with the cats chasing it around. And, JD, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, Brian. How are you?
Good. I just want to bring out some figures that I saw today. This is a Harvard study. What do you think the percentage of negative Trump coverage to positive Trump coverage is on the Fox network?
Well, I could name you several shows that are pro-Trump, but I'm not sure.
I would say it's 30-70 negative positive.
I have no idea. I don't watch Fox News that much.
52% negative about Trump.
I guarantee you
48% positive. This is a Harvard
I guarantee you the negative is probably before 4 p.m. and everything positive is after 4 p.m.
News, not opinion.
Well, that's different. That's different, I think. I think we're talking about two different things there.
Okay, now what about the other networks?
I would say CNN's probably 90% negative. I would say MSNBC maybe 95%.
You're right on the money. 93% negative.
Yeah.
7% positive.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of reasons for that, and it's not just one simple reason that the media is all liberal, they're all to the left. There's a lot of different reasons for that. I'm not saying it's all Donald Trump's fault, but there are multiple reasons why that is the case.
Let me share a funny story with you. We went and saw Craig Ferguson.
He's very funny.
The other night.
Very funny.
And I went back and looked at him when he did the White House Correspondents' Dinner a few years ago. And he did this. He goes, all right, we're coming up to a presidential election. That's when Hillary and Obama were fighting it out to see who was going to run for president. And he goes, all the correspondents in the House who are going to support the Democrat candidate, let's hear it. And they cheered. How about you with the Republicans? a few little hand claps. He goes, well, I guess that takes care of media bias we've been hearing about that you guys all deny is not there.
Well, there's certainly there's media bias. I think there's media bias on both sides. I've never said there wasn't media bias. A lot of people will listen to my show. See, this is my problem with that. A lot of people listen to our show and they'll think that, well, Brian, he's biased. He's just a Trump hater. He's a snowflake. He's a liberal. No, that's not the case. I take every single politician differently, and I look at it differently, and I have my opinions. Doesn't mean I'm biased. Doesn't mean I'm to the left. It means I don't like any politician that insults people left and right and acts like a 10-year-old, regardless of policy. And by the way, I don't agree with all of his policies. I agree with some of them. I don't like the way he treats people. I think he's a scumbag. Doesn't mean I'm to the left. Doesn't mean I'm a liberal, and it doesn't mean I'm biased. This is just my opinion.
But what you talk about night after night after night shows that you do not like Donald Trump.
Well, clearly.
We're talking about not just a little bit of dislike. We're talking about Trump derangement syndrome.
No, there's no syndrome. You know what I have? I have non-bias syndrome. I have logic syndrome. I have I'm not on the left or the right, so I don't like that. Trump derangement syndrome. I never called people that hated Obama, Obama derangement syndrome. If you watched Fox News all day, or people that were way to the right, they hated Barack Obama. That people still talk about Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton. They're not even politicians anymore. It's not a syndrome. People are biased or they're not, and I'm just saying I disagree with you. I don't think I'm biased at all.
Well, it's called a syndrome for a reason. It's never ever been this over the top.
We've never had a president
a few more years.
We've never had a president
since Kennedy.
With all due respect, we've never had a president this over the top.
Well, that's true. I agree with you there, Brian.
Well, there you go. That's why. It's a reaction to our president. It's a reaction to the things he does and the things he says every day. We are reacting to Donald Trump. If the guy just shut the hell up and stopped going on Twitter and learned how to respect people and didn't have yes men around him his whole life and wasn't, a trust fund baby, and if he actually had respect for other people that disagree with him, then there wouldn't be this Trump derangement syndrome that you're talking about, Brian. There just wouldn't.
I don't think John Kelly's a yes man, to be honest with you.
Well, you know what, Donald Trump is.
No.
Why did I mention John Kelly? I'm talking about Donald Trump.
You said the people around Donald Trump. John Kelly was his closest advisor for a year.
So you think? Why is he not his advisor now?
Well, he probably only could take a year.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not the best job in the world.
No, because Donald Trump didn't listen to him. Donald Trump does what he wants to do. And a lot of people say, well, I want a president like that. No, that's bad. You need advisors around you. You need people to say, hey, Mr. Trump, you can't say that. You can't talk about somebody like that. You got to stop talking negatively about John McCain. Now, that's the problem. I don't think that's Trump derangement syndrome. And thank you for the call, Brian. I appreciate it. I just think it's, people reacting. I mean, you answered your own question. Okay, we've never had a president like this before. People are reacting to him. 257-5396. Marge, you're next. Marge, go ahead.
Hi, happy birthday.
Thank you, Marge.
You don't get any older than 39. There's a law about that.
I wish. I tell you, I played golf earlier this morning. My back's killing me. I never had backaches before. I'm just getting old, Marge.
But it was raining out. That's why.
Yeah, I know. I know. I quit after about 8 or 9 holes. It was bad. Yeah. What's on your mind, Marge?
This whole thing with Bernie Sanders. I mean, I have to applaud Fox News. They're fair and balanced, so they're being balanced here, right? They have the largest viewing audience so far on town halls by 2.5 million or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what was interesting is that, he brought up a fact about going out and listening to people, because it's different when you go out to listen to people than what happens in Washington, D.C.
Right.
And discussions that go out, because they have a totally different view of life
mm-hmm.
than what's really going out there. And I think it's very, very clouded. As far as Trump, I've said before, he's a marketer. So if he keeps on repeating the same thing over and over and over again,
mm-hmm.
people start to believe that. He also called somebody else crazy.
Right.
So, anybody disagrees with him,
right.
He takes them out.
No, I agree. It's definitely a form of negative branding. And he is a brilliant brander, and he always has been.
I couldn't have said it better, Marge. I agree with you. Always good to hear from you. Thank you for the phone call.
Great call, Marge.
We appreciate it. Let's go to Mike. Mike, thanks for calling into the Vegas Take. How are you?
Pretty good, my man. I'd just like to say a couple things if I can.
Sure.
I've been studying politics for 10 years intensively for the last 4. And what's going on in America is very serious, okay? It's called top-down, bottom-up America's got to go one world order. And the only way you can do this is taking down the top. Well, who's the top? The United States. That's why you're seeing rewriting the history books, tearing down the statues, the open borders on the South. And the only people who are trying to stop that is, of course, Trump, which that's why everybody seems to hate him on the left.
That's not why I dislike him. That has nothing to do with why I dislike him. I think I've tried to be very clear, Mike. The reason why I dislike Donald Trump, because I think he is a scumbag. I think he is a bad person. I don't think he has any moral ground. We could talk about policy. That's fine. I don't have a problem debating you on policy. He's got some good policies. He's got some bad policies. But just
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And the worst president we ever had, period, is Barack Obama.
That's not true. No, it's not true.
That's very true. And I can give you several situations where what he's done is anti-American.
Okay, I'll tell you what I'm going to do, Mike. Okay, if you're willing to wait on hold, because I'm up against a hard break here, right. I will gladly take your phone call when we come back. We're not rushed. You willing to do that, Mike?
Sounds good to me.
All right, Mike, hang on hold. I want to know why you think Barack Obama is the worst president in the history of the country, because I could name you a couple other presidents that were far worse, in my opinion. But I'll hear you out on it. That's fine. You're listening to the Vegas Take. We're talking a little bit about Bernie Sanders and what he did on Fox News last night and why Trump is lashing out. We're going to talk a little bit about horrible story. This man was deported, sent back to Mexico. His wife was killed fighting for this country in Afghanistan. It's just absolutely, you want to talk about disgusting. We talk about, illegals and what they've, some have committed some horrible crimes. You're not going to hear about this story, though, on Fox News. We'll get to that, and we'll talk to Mike. I want to know why he thinks Barack Obama was the worst president of all time. We'll get to that when we come back. You're listening to The Vegas Take.